despite being exposed to a lethal dose of radiation for the second time in 3 days. He lived an otherwise healthy life.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the luckiest people in history who survived near-death experiences or underwent many hardships and won against the odds.
I just won 250,000. I'm not joking.
You're not, are you? Really?
I just won 250,000.
Number 10. Nichiden. A passionate supporter of Lotus Sutra and Buddhism, Nichiden's views made him beloved but also made him plenty of enemies. So much so that he was banished in 1261. Then when Nichiden returned to Japan, he was attacked in 1264. While he survived, he had a broken arm and a head wound, but that's not where his unprecedented luck comes in. In 1271, Nichiden was arrested by soldiers and was set to be executed. There are two beliefs about what happened that fateful night. One account claimed a bright light shone in the sky which terrified the executioner. Another version claimed lightning struck the executioner's blade, ending their life. Either way, Nichiden's sentence was changed to a second exile. Number 9. Martin de Jonge. 2014 was a dreadful year for air travel. In March, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 vanished. While debris has been found, we still don't know for sure what happened. In July, Malaysia Airlines Flight 17 was shot down by either Russian or Ukrainian forces. Between those, 537 people are assumed to have perished altogether.
Our thoughts and prayers continue to be with their families around the world who are going through just unimaginable grief.
One person who claimed they were nearly one of the lives lost was Dutch cyclist de Jonge, who at the time was a part of Malaysia's Terengganu cycling team. He stated he'd planned to book a seat on both flights but went with cheaper options instead. These decisions not only saved him money, but also his life.
Attention should be paid to the victims and survivors, wishing everyone affected by this disaster a lot of strength.
Number 8. Edwin Robinson. In 1971, Robinson was involved in a truck crash that left him blind and partially deaf. Not exactly lucky, but 9 years later in 1980, a dose of good fortune caught up to Robinson. At home in Falmouth, Maine, a thunderstorm was raging. Concerned about one of his chickens out in the elements, Robinson went outside to get it. While escaping the downpour from under a tree, he was struck by lightning and survived. In the US, there's a 1 in 15,300 chance of a person being hit by lightning throughout their lifetime. After a brief nap, Robinson's vision returned, and he no longer needed a hearing aid. Even years later, he was still enjoying the surprising benefits.
In most circumstances, lightning will leave people permanently scarred, so it's best to avoid it altogether and heed any warnings.
Number 7. Adolf Saxs. Best known for inventing the saxophone and other instruments, the 19th century Saxs survived numerous close calls in his life. In fact, even his mother stated he's a child condemned to misfortune, he won't live. Beginning when he was a child, Saxs fell from 3 stories and hit his head. He also drank a bowl of acidic water that he mistook for milk. Add in further incidents of him sleeping in a room where varnished furniture was drying, being burned from a gunpowder explosion, getting burnt after falling onto a hot cast iron pan, being hit in the head and falling into a river, and we have the most hardworking guardian angel in existence.
On February 7th, 1894, Adolf died peacefully in Paris.
Ooh.
The saxophone had already crossed the Atlantic, primed to evolve into an icon of American jazz music and guaranteeing Saxs his immortality.
Number 6. Vzna Vulovich.
Vzna Vulovich's story for me is just one of the most incredible survival stories, if in fact not the most impressive, that we have here at Guinness World Records.
In 1972, JAT Flight 367 was coming from Stockholm, Sweden to Belgrade, modern-day Serbia. However, an explosive onboard went off midway through the journey. The plane crashed near a village in the modern-day Czech Republic. As people examined the wreckage, they found one survivor, cabin member Vulovich.
Vesna was found screaming inside the wreckage, and the person who found her was a former World War II medic, so he was able to administer vital first aid before rescuers arrived.
It's believed that her low blood pressure protected her heart, and being pinned in the craft as passengers and crew were blown outside saved her life. Vulovich suffered many injuries, including temporary paralysis, which affected her for the rest of her life.
She broke almost every bone in her body, and she was paralyzed temporarily, in a coma for 3 days.
Due to this incredible feat, Vulovich was inducted into the Guinness World Records as the highest fall survived without a parachute at 33,333 feet. Number 5. Teddy Roosevelt.
By 1912, he already had 2 terms under his belt as president, but old TR wanted more.
In 1912, former U.S. President Roosevelt was on the campaign trail for the election the following month. Instead of being a possible third term in the Oval Office, it was nearly the end of his life when he arrived in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. On his way to deliver his speech at the Milwaukee Auditorium, Roosevelt was shot by John Schrank.
He was obsessed with the Constitution, and he felt that Roosevelt shouldn't run for a third term and that he must be stopped.
Amazingly, rather than collapse, Roosevelt briefly stumbled and carried on. The bullet had struck a glasses case and then hit the 50-page speech in his jacket pocket before nestling in his chest. Roosevelt then delivered his 90-minute speech before going to the hospital. The bullet was left inside him for the rest of his life. Schrank, on the other hand, was sent to a psychiatric hospital.
It'll take more than a bullet to kill a bull moose.
Number 4. Bill Morgan. In 1998, Morgan was in a car crash in Australia. The damage and the allergic reaction to medication caused him to suffer multiple heart attacks. For nearly 15 minutes, Morgan was dead. However, he was thankfully revived. But he wasn't out of the woods as he fell into a 12-day coma before recovering.
I'm only 37, and at 37 I've got so much to look forward to.
Later, Lady Luck was looking upon him when Morgan got a new job, a fiancé, and won a car from a scratch card. With this turn of events in 1999, 9 News did a segment on him and got Morgan to recreate his win by buying another scratch card from a store. Amazingly, he won 250,000 Australian dollars, around 165,000 US dollars at the time.
I just won 250,000. I'm not joking.
You're not, are you? Really?
I just won 250,000.
Number 3. Violet Jessup.
The only woman to have survived the sinking of the 2 great seagoing sisters, Britannic and Titanic.
It's bad enough to go through 1 boat accident, but 3 is unbelievable. Yet that's what happened with Jessup. In 1911, she was a steward aboard RMS Olympic when it struck the warship HMS Hawk. Thankfully, everyone survived and the boat got back to port. A year later, Jessup was working on the RMS Titanic when it sank after hitting an iceberg. While around 1,500 people didn't survive, Jessup did.
Around 4 a.m., 2 hours after Titanic went down, the cruise ship Carpathia arrived and began pulling the survivors out of the lifeboats.
Then in 1916, during World War I, she was working on the sister ship of the Titanic, the HMHS Britannic. However, the vessel struck a German naval mine and sank. 30 people lost their lives, and Jessup nearly was one when she narrowly missed the wrecked boat's spinning propeller.
She lived alone in this small country cottage until her death in 1971 at the age of 84.
Number 2. Tsutomu Yamaguchi.
He doesn't know it yet, but the world's first atomic bomb has just exploded over the city with a force of 15,000 tons of TNT.
On August 6, 1945, the U.S. dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima. At the time, Yamaguchi was there for a business trip. He survived but suffered severe radiation burns and ruptured eardrums.
He woke up and he didn't know how many minutes passed, but what he saw was a huge pillar of the fire over the Hiroshima city.
Up to 166,000 people died that day. Yamaguchi then traveled to Nagasaki to tell his work what had happened. While there on August 9th, the second atomic bomb was dropped in the city. This time, Yamaguchi wasn't injured in the devastation, though up to 80,000 people perished. After that experience, he became a supporter of nuclear disarmament. In 2009, the Japanese government recognized Yamaguchi as the only person to have survived both bombs.
Despite being exposed to a lethal dose of radiation for the second time in 3 days, he lived an otherwise healthy life before finally dying at the age of 93.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Frane Selak. Rather than a single guardian angel, Selak apparently had a whole army of them throughout his life. In 1962, Selak survived a train crash that took 17 lives.
His train car plunged down a narrow canyon and into an icy river. Desperately fighting to escape the sinking train car, Selak made his way to the shore before being pulled to safety by a bystander.
Then he was blown from a plane and landed on a haystack as the aircraft crashed, taking 19 lives. Seemingly, transportation had a vendetta against Selak as he survived another 2 bus incidents and 3 car crashes. But his luck hadn't run out yet. In 2003, Selak won $1.1 million in the Croatian lottery. After enjoying a life of luxury, in 2010, he gave away the cash to friends and family. While some of the near-death experiences are disputed, if even half of them were confirmed to have happened, Selak was the luckiest person ever.
Selak said that you could look at it 2 ways. I was either the unluckiest man in the world or the luckiest. I prefer to believe the latter.
What's the luckiest thing to have happened to you? Let us know your tales below.
More than 75,000 people died in the Nagasaki bombing. Yet once again, Tsutomu Yamaguchi walked away